But so tell me about Angus having a cuddle again.
Well, Angus is in with 4 girls, and every day the girls get picked up and checked to make sure they're not coming into season, because ferrets, when they come into season, you've got to take them to the vet, otherwise they don't come out again. So I picked them all up, upended them, caught them as they scampered around the floor, put them back in. Angus, of course, is a neutered male ferret and doesn't need to be upended and checked. So they all dived into their food, and Angus is standing there going, "Excuse me," and a foot came up and went bang, wow. "Excuse me, I haven't had a cuddle. I need a cuddle." I was like, "Do you mind my cuddle?" So I picked him up, and he coiled himself inside my coat.
Oh,
He was having a lovely squirm against my jersey. It was this jersey, so it smells of ferrets at the moment.
I'm not there. I can't smell it. It's fine.
Ferret smell is Marmite. You either like it or you don't. Ferret keepers tend to like it. Otherwise, you don't keep ferrets.
True.
And it was just this, "Hey, you forgot me." It's like, "I didn't forget you. It's just the others all exploded across the floor." Yeah. And he was just standing there waiting, so I did. And then I went and did the other boys. And the next thing I know, there's Paris going, "Excuse me."
And me.
"Hey, I'm coming for you as well, Paris." He got a cuddle too.
Oh.
It was the way they'd both done exactly the same movement. They stood at the side, looked at me, and just went, "Hey," with a hand on the bars. And it was a proper hand with their claws out.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. And they did. I've seen them do that. Yeah. Oh.
Obviously, the master taking notes and passing them on to the apprentice there. "Hey, this works. Do that."
And now is our opportunity for you to learn that it does work. Try it. Yeah. And just before that, we were talking about us saying that my cat, Kellen, who you probably have heard of, she's dead into nature programs on TV. And she knows what they are. She follows it round, and she'll have her eye on this sort of baby elephant or meerkat or deer or whatever it is that we're watching. And she's following it around, on the screen like this. And she's totally fixed on it, and I can sort of stroke her, and she goes, "Oh, get off, I'm watching TV."
I did come across a bit of video a while ago. It was probably Facebook. But there was a cat who just discovered he had ears for the first time. And he's sitting up in front of a mirror, and you can see him going. And then the paw comes up, and he's like,
"Yeah.
Oh my God, I've got ears."
I've had that, and I'm not actually sure that that's what they're doing. I've had that with several cats.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of they're actually realizing that is them in the mirror.
Yes.
That's not another cat. I'm doing that. That's me.
This is me.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
me.
Okay. So now I know what that thing is.
Yes.
And after that, they tend to sort of like, okay, fine. And sometimes they seem to go and look at themselves in the mirror.
They do, yes. But you get exactly the same thing with a cat in a mirror as you do with probably an 18-month-old toddler in a mirror. "Oh my God, that's me." And then round the back.
Yeah.
That's me round the back.
Yeah.
Cats will do that.
Yeah.
I've never seen a dog do it.
No, my cats have done that, or they've tried to go around the back. It's a bit difficult at the moment because the mirror's actually in my wardrobe door.
Yes.
It's like, and she does get in the wardrobe, so maybe, or she gets in now, but it wasn't the same. Maybe she did when she first got in. Yeah. So yeah, but I think part of this is like, that's definitely me. I know I'm doing that.
Did I send you that bit of video of the kitten definitely finding her feet for the first time?
No, you didn't.
Oh, I'll have to try and find that because it's brilliant. It's a little black cat lying on its back, still blue-eyed, still, tiny kitten. And the eyes go very wide, and the front feet go down and like grab on a back foot. And it's like,
it's mine.
Look what I've got. With the other 2 feet, you've got 3 feet there. And then the next minute, I've got another one.
Yeah,
absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, I have seen that. It's this exploring thing, and I do wish people would sort of recognize things like that, because we've turned down, they can't do that, and we've allowed scientists, idiot scientists, I must say, But scientists to say, oh, you know, animals can't think, they don't abstract, they don't do this, they don't do the other thing. They bloody well do.
Of course they do.
And when you actually sort of think about all the normal things that a wild animal does, you think they couldn't possibly do that without abstracting.
No.
And you know, they're thinking consequences, they're thinking ahead, they're thinking, if then else, if I do that, then what will happen, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
If I go there, will the beast turn the other way and can my friend catch it?
Yes, that
Yes.
sort of thing. Or if you're the wildebeest, as long as I keep my head and my horns at him, or my head in the wildebeest.
Yes.
I was thinking of the buffalo.
Wildebeest have horns as well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But you know that they won't come for that, and I know that they're going to go for my back end because that's easy. You just grab a flank and I'm
Yeah.
down, and that's
So we must stay with the herd. And in the case of buffalo and muskox,
yeah,
you know, you all form a circle facing outwards.
Yeah.
Little ones in the middle.
And then somebody gets stray, and so that's it. There's dinner.
Very often we only see the hunts on TV where there is a stray. But very often in the wild, the wolves are going to be running around in circles going, damn it, they won't come out.
And they do lury things as well. I mean, some of the good ones, I mean, some of Attenborough's have been very, very good, and they've you know had like the whole programs about it, and how long it takes the pack to actually get a beast down, and so get some food for themselves and their cubs, of course, if it's the right season. And I wish they'd show that more, because people think, oh, you know, Nasty Hunter is always out killing things. And I mean, I think it's about 1 in 10 hunts is successful.
Yes. And if you get injured, that's probably you.
And that they predator, all predators, birds, snakes, everything, has quite a hard life. And I'm still talking about that meerkat program. We watched it yesterday. It was really quite good. And I don't follow the meerkat adverts. They drive me insane. But they are quite cute. And they're not cats. They're mongoose.
Yes.
Mongooses, whichever it is.
Whichever it is, yes.
And anyway, they've been following this pack, and it's led by a female. Remember this, packs are often led by females. And anyway, some sort of snake comes along, and they've got cubs down in the den, and they've got a couple of the meerkats they've left on babysitting duties. And they get the snake away, and then they go off to collect everybody else and bring everybody home. And the snake goes down the burrow. And, you know, if the snake stays down the burrow, there are 2 meerkats, and I think it was 3 cubs less going to be. And, you know, the boss female, she's 3 years old, so I suppose she was getting on a bit in a way. But she went down there, and we don't know, at least I couldn't work out whether she actually got the snake out or killed the snake or whatever, but the snake bit her, so she died. So the next episode, which I feel like I'm going to watch, is them picking a new leader.
Yes.
Which I suspect could be a little bit bit of a fight going on there, you know, and a bit of a sort of prove yourself kind of thing. But it was quite amazing. I don't altogether like the way they do programs, because they'd almost got the sobby music, and the bloke who was doing the commentary got the sobby voice, and you were practically in tears anyway. Yes. And nobody ever thought about the snake. Whether that was dead, whether that one was hungry, or whether it got away, or what, you know. And
having had a snake in the family in the past.
Yeah, you have.
They only eat when they're hungry.
Yeah. So if it was out there, it was hungry.
Yes.
And snakes don't waste energy.
No, it is one of the things that's well known by snake keepers is if your snake is not hungry, you could have a pack of mice running around that cage, and they will just sit there and ignore them.
Yeah.
And in fact, you never do that, A, because it's illegal to feed live prey to a snake, but also because the live prey may well kill the snake.
Yes.
Mice.
In case you didn't realize mice will do that.
Yes.
You know, sweet little mouse. Ow!
Yeah. Yes. So no predator wastes energy hunting when there's no need.
Mm.
That term you know perfectly well. Falconers use it.
Yeah.
If your bird is
Yeah.
fed up,
Yeah.
it's not cross and sulky and sitting there going, "I won't." He's
If
not
I
hungry.
can't.
He's not hungry.
Yeah.
I can't fly efficiently. I'm too full.
And this is very true. And I mean, predators, hawk and falcony type of things, particularly, it works for all birds. I mean, if a bird is absolutely full, it actually can't take off. And so, you know, if a predator who eats birds or something comes along and sees one, like they go, "It's Christmas, my luck's in."
Yeah.
You know.
I was watching one of my local buzzards in the field here yesterday. Too far away for me to see what it was that she'd caught. But big bird, so definitely she. But she had a real struggle taking off afterwards.
Yeah.
So it must have been something like a rabbit.
I would say it was a big rabbit. But I mean, you've seen them too, because we both worked with falconers and that. I mean, a buzzard has a huge, I mean, it's got a wingspan more, I'm 5'3" or 2. It's got a wingspan bigger than me, you know, my arms spread out. But it's got actually very small, weak claws.
Yes.
And I've seen it, and they have real trouble taking off with prey. They do it, but if you look at, say, there's lots of osprey stuff on Facebook and the web and that. Osprey's claws are huge. And then you go and look at a buzzard's claws, and they're, I don't know, something like half the length.
But then buzzards are scavengers.
They are.
So normally they eat where they find it and then they fly off without it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, but once they've stuffed, it's a real struggle getting off the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're too heavy for their wings.
And this is why an awful lot of them try and take at least some of the meal up into a tree, eat it up there, and then they're, relatively speaking, safe. And when it's all gone through a bit, they've got an easy run off kind of thing. Haven't got to do a whole bloody lot against gravity. Because that is actually quite hard work. Gravity is quite strong, you know. You may not have realized.
I had an interesting conversation with someone at a fish farm, trout hatchery, a few years ago. This is not the kind of trout hatchery where they go, "Oh my God, the osprey is killing all our fish, get rid of the osprey." They have their own nest. They built a nest platform, and the ospreys live a nest and raise young every year on their main fishing pond.
Yeah.
And they have a live cam in the bar. So if you're not catching fish, you can sit and watch the ospreys doing it instead. But they said every year it's a learning experience for the young ospreys. And they said, yeah, we do have a certain number of fish that are caught by anglers that have holes in.
Yeah.
Because the young ospreys have tried to catch something too big to grip.
Yeah.
So
they've got the grip just wrong, or they
can't.
Things aren't quite right, and so they've had to let go. Birds of prey clamp when they grip. It's like they turn a clamp switch on. I mean, obviously they don't, but it does, like that. And but they can turn it off.
Yes.
Just about. And when they're young, and if they've got it wrong, and so, you know, it's all cockeyed and they can't fly.
Yes.
They can let it go, and they have to let it go because they'd be in the water drowned.
Yes. But he said it is definitely a learning process, and it's to do with refraction on the water.
Yeah.
The bird looks and says, "I can get that," and then realizes that refraction made that fish look smaller.
Yeah.
It's actually a couple of pounds heavier than the bird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a good fishery, that one.
Yeah.
They've had cases before now where they've actually fed an osprey chick who fell out the nest.
Absolutely.
And they'll go and feed it every day until it's big enough to fly.
Yes, and you don't pick it up and bring it in and cuddle it by the fire.
No. It stays outside by the nest.
Please, because parents will actually visit.
Yes, I think in that case the parents were a fairly young pair,
and they
had one in the nest and they hadn't figured it out. There's another one at the bottom.
And even if they hadn't figured it out that you can actually feed it and look after it as well.
So they just lobbed a fish in the general direction of.
Yeah, and the bird would get it.
And then they said fledged and flew away. So that was fine.
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, one reason why I sort of introduced this is because
We have the animal shamanism course starting soon.
yes. Do we have a date when you're hoping, you know, when people can sign on?
People can sign on anytime they like. And I'm hoping
you can sign on now.
You can sign on now. Yes.
Right.
And I'm hoping to start at the end of this month. So sign on quickly, people.
And now, okay, have we got the links where they sign on?
You can get to it through Dear Trod's
advanced courses.
The advanced courses in the members cave. Press the
no, it's not in the members cave. Yes, well, it is as well. Yes, but it's also there's also an advanced.
There's also the advanced courses. So sign on to either of those. You'll find a button that says contact for more information.
Contact her, and
straight to my email.
Yeah.
So email me and I'll get straight back to you.
Yeah. And it now how is the course run? How does it work, Fiona? What do people have and do? And
what will happen is I will email you a lesson each month. There will be a certain amount of text for you to read, and some things for you to go and research and look up for yourself, and some exercises to do. And the more work you put into doing these exercises, and the more you do them every day, because that's what they're designed for, the more you will get out of it. At the end of the month, just before the next lesson comes out, you need to put all your conclusions into some sort of mind dump or mind map and send it to me with any queries and discussion and things you thought were particularly interesting. And we will have a little bit of feedback and discussion. And then I'll send you another lesson.
And then I'll send you another lesson, or you send another lesson anyway?
Well, I will send another lesson anyway, but it would be much better if you could get the discussion done first.
Yeah, I must admit, though, that this doesn't always happen. It does actually work out.
It's quite understandable.
So don't feel that you can't sign on because you might not be able to get the discussion back in time or anything like that. No, it does work out.
Other things happen in my life. I've got a room student at the moment I must get back to today. So, yes.
And I've got 2 students I must get back to today.
Yes.
And if anybody got my apologetic email about the Immort newsletter, which has not happened yet, you will understand that I am there.
Yes.
I don't know what's been. It's been for you like this as well, probably for other people.
We're certainly hearing it from a lot of other people. It's been really busy.
God almighty, roller coaster's not on it.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa. And unfortunately, I've never really worked out how to manage without sleep.
No.
I don't really want to try, actually. I don't really want to get there. There's no place I'm aiming at.
It's really not good for a human brain at all.
No, and I actually quite enjoy sleep and dreaming and things like that. Actually, they're quite useful too.
Yes. Yes.
But no, so we've both been really busy. And talking of dreaming being useful, I mean, are you asking, I mean, I asked people to try dreaming on several courses as well. Are you asking?
Later on in this course, yes, I will be.
Yeah, not right at the beginning. No.
The first 2 lessons are laying basics, getting basic skills in place.
Yeah.
And then as you begin to open up, as the communication begins to open up with the animals around you.
Yeah.
I should say the non-human animals, because humans are animals too.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
So as communication opens up and you're beginning to converse with other species, then yes, I will be asking people to dream with these animals as well, because they will.
You need to ask the animal first, because you might say, piss off, I'm busy tonight.
Yes.
In which case you say, sorry, anybody else out there?
Well, in the case of cats, you're probably at some point getting, at last, I've been waiting.
Indeed, yes. I have had that with dogs too.
You can get that with dogs, not all dogs.
No, and we only ever had what people call German Shepherds now. My father used to call Alsatians, but big black wolfy things. At least ours were black. And they used to. We had 2 in particular. Not at the same time, and they'd know when you were in the zone. As far as, oh, hello, you're here.
Yes.
At last.
Yes.
Both
I have whippets at the moment, and they don't.
no, but it's a different sort of dog.
It's a different sort of dog. So some dogs will, some dogs won't.
Yeah. I mean, your terrier did though.
Oh, my terriers used to, yes.
Yeah, and I mean the one that I only met her once, didn't I? But I met her through healing a couple of times.
Raccoon, yes.
Yeah, did I meet her more than once? Certainly met her once.
Certainly met her once, yes.
But
she was an interesting exercise in healing because she had a dock tail. She still had an energy tail.
Yes, she
but
did.
not a physical tail. And it used to come adrift and curl up over her back and give her enormous amounts of trouble. And I would have to actually straighten it out energetically so that it became a proper dog tail instead of a sort of, you know, the way pieces of paper will curl up when you
Yeah.
it used to do that over her back and drive her demented. So
Yeah.
don't dock your dog's tails, people. It's bad for them.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, they're meant to have tails.
Yes.
It's part of the backbone, and that's part of the spinal cord even, and part of the whole part of being a dog.
And apart from anything else, there is a minor chakra at the end of it. And if you don't have it anchored to something physical, it goes all over the place.
Yeah, it does.
So,
and it's a little bit like, you know, when people sort of lose an arm or something and they say they've still got the arm, they still feel it. Well, all animals do.
Yes. They do.
And it you know, hopefully, you know, when you get on the animal shamanism course, this is going to sort of like really sort of like, oh yeah, so they do. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And it does enormously build. You end up with far more friends than you thought you had.
Oh yes, yes. So we will be doing some dream work with that. I'll be doing some work on communication, twining threads with other animals.
Yeah, yeah.
Which will enable people to actually reach out and share that moment with the passing buzzard.
Yes.
Presumably, if the buzzard is actually happy to share with you.
Oh yeah.
And with birds of prey, you will very often get the I'm actually busy, because they actually are.
I don't even usually get the actually. I usually get I'm busy. Piss off.
Yes. Or they just
don't make me miss that rabbit or fish or whatever it is I'm after. Yeah. And you gradually
pick your moment there.
But after you've got the first 2 or 3 lessons together and the basic exercises and feeling and sensing and that, you know, you can see that buzzard, you know, across the field or sat on the top of a telegraph pole or whatever, and you'll be able to see and know. I mean, you sort of see it inside. You may see it outside as well, sense it or feel it or whatever, but you'll know whether that buzzard is having a break or hunting.
Yes.
And if they're having a break, it's worth saying, hey, got a moment?
Yes.
And if they're hunting, you know perfectly well, shut up and go away.
Yes, exactly.
So I think we ought to repeat that again, that most animals, probably all animals, wild ones, not humans, or not humans, not even wild ones, don't hunt unless they're hungry.
Yes, it is a matter of life and death, particularly for hunting birds.
Yes.
They walk a very fine line. You're either too thin and you haven't the strength to fly, or that mouse was 2 ounces too much and now you can't get off the ground.
Yeah.
It really is that tight a line. So don't disturb, you know, if your local barn owl crosses the road, don't say anything. Let them be, because it's life and death.
Especially for little ones like barn owls and kestrels, because they can only manage very small prey. I mean, if you've ever held a kestrel on your fist,
yes,
it's almost like you haven't got anything on your fist. You can see it there.
They don't even come up to a kilogram. It takes a very big bird to hit a kilogram.
Yeah, it does. And mind you, that's partly because they all have, or mostly, do they all, or is it mostly have hollow bones?
All birds have hollow bones, yes.
Which of course means a bit less weight, which means flying is a bit easier. So
yes.
When you realise that flapping your arms doesn't work, this is part of it.
Yes, yes. And they have been working on this for a very, very long time.
Like
Well, if you actually want to know, it's over 100 million years.
I thought it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
because what we call birds are actually short-tailed feathered dinosaurs.
Yes.
So next time someone says, oh, all the dinosaurs went extinct, no, they didn't.
And you can actually...
That chicken that laid your breakfast
does.
egg is actually the closest living relation to a Tyrannosaurus Rex that there is.
Yeah.
So show a little respect.
Yes.
They have been working on this for a very long time, and they are very good at it.
Mm.
But it's a very tight line for survival.
And that is something that when you work with animals and you ask them to show you and teach you, which is what animal shamanism is about. You know, it's not having a power animal.
No.
In fact, we don't do power animals anyway.
How to work with animals who are themselves shamans.
And who are willing to teach you. Not all of them are. Some of them sort of say, not my job.
Yes. Like any other shaman, they have their own jobs to do.
Yeah.
But they will also talk to their colleagues.
And like any good shaman, they don't come around and proselytize you and hand you leaflets and tell you ought to be on their course.
Oh no, you have to work.
You find them. They'll say, I'm here, and they'll do blogs like this and talk about something, because you can turn this blog off anytime you want. You don't have to watch it. And or they've got a Facebook page. I'm not animal so Facebook. Well,
George actually does have a Facebook page.
He does, yes. But you know, a good shaman, it is available, and you know they're the third cave on the left on the top of Snowdon or something. But you don't have to go there, and they don't come hiking down the months looking for students.
There is the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
So if you are ready, if you've put the work in, there they are. But you will have to prove yourself to them, and you don't go empty-handed.
No, but that doesn't mean to say you take along a bottle of mead and a packet of rose petals. Please.
No.
You usually go, oh no, I've got a cover full of rose petals.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's the lovely old fairy stories, which come in all shapes and sizes and guises. And, you know, the student knows that he's got to go out and find somebody to teach him. I have no idea, or her, doesn't matter. And so they've heard there's a whistle. A wizard. Let's try a wizard. I think I'm reading Winnie the Pooh too much. Anyway, they know there's a wizard up in the mountains up there through the forest, so they head off in that direction. And, you know, the snow falls and the ice gets them, and their shoes fall off, and they're starving, hungry, and freezing cold. And they arrive at the wizard's door, and they bang on it, you know. And eventually, the wizard sort of comes to the little sort of grill, shoots it back, and says, "What do you want?" Please, I want to learn. Well, fuck off then. Bang, you know. And so you freeze again for another night, and then the next morning it's like, what, you still there? What do you want? You know. And bugger off. So, you know, and the third morning it's, God, it's you that you're still there. Little note, you've lasted 3 nights.
Yes.
You've hung in there. You've had persistence. You've got the grit to stick it. So door opens. Well, you can come in and sweep my floors and fetch the wood and clean the bowls and like Mickey Mouse, you know, wash the floors. Don't do a Mickey Mouse. Really, he did get into trouble. And so you come in and you start working for, as you see it first, the wizard. And gradually, and this comes out beautifully in the Ged's, the first Ged story.
Yes.
Wizard of Earthsea, the first one. You learn that just by walking along beside the teacher, collecting the herbs, or, you know, building the fire or whatever, you are learning. But you've got to find that out and realize for yourself. Now, the same thing happens with animals.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And I learned so much just by watching
Mm.
all my different animals around here interacting with each other as part of a community,
Mm.
as they do.
Mm.
And occasionally I do have to intervene. The whippets are terrible for running around under the horses without thinking. Not now, George is eating, he will kick you. And if we did have a close shave the other day because the hoof rose and flew out, and a dog went, oh my God, it actually does.
Yes.
The whippets are a little brainless that way sometimes.
Yeah, they can be.
They're a bit too focused. My nose says this way.
And I'm not thinking about anything else or
Yeah.
anybody else or anything else like that. No, but yeah, you do. I mean, one of the ones that do you mind sharing this one with,
Which one?
you know, well, it's about the sighing, George and Poppy.
Oh, yes.
This is really good, and it's
Yes.
how animals teach you.
Yes, a little bit of background here. George is a very large, very young horse. He has a terrific amount of power and no control over it whatsoever, and it crashes around the place like a gigantic wrecking ball. He will actually knock down brick walls.
I've seen him do it, yes.
And Poppy is, well, for a start, she's a lot older. She's 13, nearly 14 now, whereas George is only just coming up on 5. She is an Arab mare, and they're very neat, very refined, very delicate little horses. She is beautiful. She's a brood mare, so she's a mother. And that's quite important because she raises young horses. She's very good at it. And I was complaining to her one day, I'm having a right old whinge. George comes and looms over me, and he stands over me, and he's right up here, and I can't do anything with him because I'm sort of hunkered down going, oh my God, he's on top of me again. George stands nearly 6 foot to the shoulder, so I'm only 5'2". When he comes and looms over me like that, there's very little I can do. And she just looked at me and went, and then went back to the hay. So I carried on whinging away. And she looked at me, and there's a look she has that just says, you are not paying attention. You're not here and now. So I'm like, what did I miss? And she went, and you could see her thinking, shoot. So I shoot. And I went back to George, and George came and loomed at me. And I went, well, okay, nothing ventured, nothing gained. He went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he took a step backwards.
And you later sort of connected that actually when because George will loom at all of the other horses.
Yes.
And if he does it particularly to Poppy, she just does that.
Well, actually, all horses do it. It's a way of saying, back off, you're in my space.
Yeah, but she's particularly obvious, and
Yes.
she then later demonstrated it like with George,
Yes.
which is again pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And so I mean, they will teach you so much, but they do give you this sort of old-fashioned look of, you are a stupid human. Listen.
Yes. With Poppy, she does have this look that says, you're not here and now. Because it's her catchphrase. You're not here and now. She does it to her foal dancer as well.
Yeah, yeah.
The dancer sort of, there's no other way of saying it. She's farting around the place being an idiot because she's only a 2-year-old. And she'll be doing this.
She's a teenage princess, and she's also very beautiful.
Poppy will stand and look at her and go, you're not here and now, are you? And dancer will go, oops, sorry. Yes, Mum? And you'll see her come back into herself.
Yeah.
She'll literally pull all her energy in and go, I'm here now. And then she'll Poppy's ears will go forward and she'll go, right, now I can tell you this.
Yeah.
Which is, in case you hadn't noticed, that the hay is better this side.
Or something. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really important thing. I mean, people, you've been on any average healing course and you get told to pull your aura in.
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
Yes.
It's your energy field.
Yes. And
animals do it all the time. And they reach out to find things, stretch things, discover things, have fun, play together. And then whoosh, it's going to come in.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether you're a predator. I mean, if you're a prey animal, it's probably a good idea to pull it in, get yourself here and now, because there's a pride of lions coming at you.
Yes.
Um, and
This is something I've watched with the horses a great deal, because Abe, one of the other horses, another Arab, is an absolute master with his aura.
oh, he
His
is.
aura can go in and out. He is so good at it. He will sneak into George's bucket under George's nose, and George will be standing there going, "Where'd he come from?"
Yeah, and he's not felt him.
He's not
He
felt him at
hasn't
all.
felt his energy field at all.
Half a ton of horse walks up to him right under his nose,
Mm.
and he's like,
Put his head under.
yes,
Yeah.
where'd you come from?
Yeah.
It's not even visible. So that sort of skill in manipulating your own aura means you can let it go out and go, lions.
In, focus,
Everybody,
run.
yes.
You know, or defend, or get in a circle, or whatever it is you're
Yes.
going to do. Yeah.
And I saw Poppy do that the other day, because the farmer here had put up a kite to scare pigeons off his crops.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were all in the yard sunbathing, and suddenly Poppy went, and she was staring, and all the others sort of went, what? Oh my God, what's she seen? Like that. And I had 4 horses lined up staring at this kite. And then they sent George to investigate. They always send George to investigate. It's his job. And usually the one who follows behind going, "I'll hold your coat while you go and get in the fight, mate," is Abe.
Yeah.
This is what horses do.
Yeah.
Mares stay back, stallions go and defend the herd. So George is the nearest thing to the herd stallion. Well, he's a gelding, but he's bigger. And he's a very brave horse. And he knows perfectly well it's his job. So off he went to investigate. And I went with him. And it was actually a beautiful little bonding moment for us.
Yeah.
Because we stood there next to each other, and I said things like, there, it's okay, it's just a kite. Pat, 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 stroke, stroke, it's fine. And every now and again, this enormous, the end of his nose is this big.
Yeah.
And he would come round and he'd just go, nuzzle, nuzzle, it's okay, I've got it. And we just stood there together, reassuring each other, which was very pleasant.
Yeah.
But it was because Poppy suddenly whipped her aura in and focused. And all the other horses literally turned around and went, "What? Oh my God," like that. And they all lined up. And that's exactly the reaction you get, whether it's a kite that suddenly appeared, or a plastic bag in a hedge, or a pride of lions.
Yeah. Yeah. And they will show you all this. And they will show you how to do it. They don't give you a sort of formula, you haven't got to go and do Pythagoras' theorem or something to learn how to do it. They show you, and they show you like Poppy did with.
But
you've got to be there.
The one thing you've got to do is be there. And a lot of this course is to do with improving your own body awareness.
Yes.
And working on your own aura and learning to handle the threads, because that's what you need. You need to be able to be aware of your own body. Because if you walk up to your rabbit going, "Oh, what a lovely rabbit."
I mean, even when you did that to me, it was like jump. Yeah.
Yes. That's what a rabbit sees last thing before an eagle lands on it.
Yes.
Don't do it. Really, they don't like it.
Really.
You walk up to your rabbit going, "That's a nice rabbit." That's a completely different thing. Because a rabbit's paws are like that, whereas an eagle's talons are like that. Yeah. You have to be aware of this. You have to be aware of yourself. You have to be aware of the animal you're trying to talk to. And their species parameters. Are they dinner? Are they the one who dines? Are they both in different circumstances?
Indeed, which many things are. Or are they a threat to another predator?
Are they something that worries about stuff coming down? Or are they stuff that worries about things coming up? Or are they a galloping animal whose reaction to any kind of danger is the horizon is not far enough away?
Yes. Yeah.
And that defines the way they think. In the same way that we are a monkey descended creature that runs across plains in Africa. That's what defines how we think. Yeah. And you have to know your own limits before you can start reaching out beyond your limits and saying, "I'm going to try and understand, please share with me." And they will. They will.
And they'll show it to you more. And I've noticed particularly, I had horses a long time ago, but I don't have them now. So the odd anecdote, that's Fiona's bag. But I have cats, and I've had dogs fairly recently. And one thing that drives me completely bonkers I always have rescue cats because somebody needs to do it and I'm good at it. And so mine have always had a trauma, at least one. And so people come in and she's black and she's beautiful and all those sort of things. So people go, ah, and they want to put their hand over her head. And she's gone.
Yeah, of course she's.
I mean, that is a threat. That is somebody's coming to grab me. That is something I can't get out from under.
Mm.
And yes, she's a predator, but she's in danger from all sorts of other things as well, including other predators who would think she was a threat.
Yes.
But you come in like this, and I mean, you haven't got claws sticking out again. So you come in like that. It's just a sort of a lump, and you come in under here, and then she can do that. And if she felt scared enough, she could bite you. She won't. But she knows that she could. And you haven't stopped her. So I'll sniff it first.
In fact, I don't even go that far with strange cats.
Mm.
I will actually crouch down,
yes,
make myself smaller, look slightly away to one side,
yes,
and then purr and wait.
I sometimes don't even purr, but yes, and come down to they like this.
Yes.
Have the, I mean, they won't necessarily look at you. That it's glance look.
Yes, I can see you're there.
We're going to get an animal in a minute, but don't loom. You know, I mean, like Fiona said about George looming is, and so
particularly as George has had trauma in his life and will bite.
Yeah.
You know, if you scare George, he will bite you.
Yeah, he will. And his bite is sort of about, you know. Whereas my cat's quite. She can bite, and of course they can open their jaws massively, and but cats have very strong jaws. Remember, they can bite and crunch a mouse's head or a rabbit's head. You try that with your teeth. You won't. So, you know.
How's your superior experience on that one?
Okay. So they tell you, and it may sound like, well, I didn't really come on this for a David Attenborough course or a biology lesson or something. You get much more than that. Once you start to be with the animal, they share with you, you share with them. They get quite interested in doing that because they're learning something new and they're always keen on that. And so when you watch something happen, when you watch nature work, you get, oh, yeah. Now, from what Kellen did, that's my cat, the other day, that makes sense why that's happening. So your whole horizon expands.
Well, you know how they encourage children to travel? Take a gap year, see the world, see other cultures. It'll be better, it'll be good for you. Yeah. You'll learn to understand different viewpoints. Now, what we're doing with this course, you're going to travel. You're going to see other viewpoints. You're going to experience other cultures. They're just not human ones.
And you may not even have to go any further than your garden or even your window box.
Or if your cat turns out to be the one who's going to shamanize you, then you don't have to go anywhere. Your cat will sit on you.
Yep. Or not. Yeah. But yes, you will. Yeah. Yes. And okay, so well, all I've got is a hamster. So you think hamsters aren't capable of being shamans?
They can all do it. Yeah. I've had some amazing words of wisdom from badgers.
And your budgerigars were amazing.
Oh, my budgerigars were incredible. Live with dinosaurs. My chickens are pretty good.
They are, yeah.
And Hannibal the gander is frankly amazing. And he is one of the teachers on this course.
Yeah.
The main teachers on this course are, in fact, Black Duck, who is a black duck, Hannibal the gander, and the horses Poppy and George. And those four, I mustn't forget the ferrets.
No.
Ferret, and his recently graduated apprentice, Paris. who would like to be known as Journeyman Paris from now on.
Okay.
He's a young ferret. He's standing on his beauty and his achievements somewhat.
He did get called Paris for a reason.
He did.
Yes.
He's very beautiful. He is a silver mitt ferret, and he likes to let you know he's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. We must actually get some pictures of them all.
There will be pictures of them all, yes.
Yeah, but we need photographs on the Facebook pages and
Yes.
things like that, so that people can see them.
I shall do that.
And,
So those are the main teachers. I mean, to a large extent, they've written the course. All I've done is translated it into text.
Yeah.
And a lot of the exercises, you will be working with these animals, with these particular teachers.
And
because the other thing you need to learn is that distance is meaningless.
Totally. And the fact that you haven't met them doesn't matter at all. You will.
Yes.
The only thing that will stop you is saying, I can't because it's too far. I can't because I've never met them. If you say, I can't, you won't.
Yes.
You can stop yourself just like that.
But they work with some of our other students.
Yeah, they do. Very successfully.
And very much to their surprise.
Very much to their
I didn't
surprise.
think I'd be able to see them, but suddenly Angus was there on the path in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, physically, he's 500 miles away.
Yeah.
But
Or
he's there on the path in front of you.
Or I mean, when Karen, one of our students, she's actually in New York, and Poppy looks after her.
Yes.
So Poppy from northern Aberdeenshire near Peterhead, quite happily, you know, faster than light travel, is there with Karen in New York, and helping her like that, and it just does.
We can do the same things.
Indeed. It's not so instinctive for most people to do that, but again, they will teach you that.
Yes. A lot of the time, when I was learning from them to begin with, an awful lot of the time, I would get shut up with the thinking.
Yes.
It's a bit like Yoda. Don't try, do.
Yes, very much. Yeah. In fact, the whole Yoda thing is quite a good example from the. Yes. I love the film. It's such fun, but it is that example. They do this for you, and you remember when the thing when Yoda's told Luke to levitate his spaceship out of the mud, and he's thinking, and you think, oh God, he's constipated or something. And anyway, and it doesn't work, and so eventually Yoda, I think he probably wants to get rid of him by then. So Yoda sort of, and up it comes beautifully. And I think Luke says something like, "I don't believe it." And Yoda, I can't remember Yoda's answer, but it's something like, "Don't say that."
Well, yeah, and to a large extent, if you don't believe it, won't happen.
No, it won't.
Like the first time you actually talk to a non-human animal and get words back is quite mind-blowing. And
they do use words.
They do.
Not because they necessarily use words, but because they know that we are ex-monkeys, that we're chatterboxes, and that's how we work, and that as humans, our life seems to revolve around words. So they send word pictures.
Yes.
And sometimes you actually sense the word in your mind. You might even hear it.
Yes.
And so they will use them.
Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. It depends. Yeah. It all depends on you and that particular teacher.
Yeah, and that particular moment and what is needed.
Yes.
So an awful lot of it, of course, is really, and that's the whole thing with any of the old ways training, is you really have to open the lid of your box and at least peer out and smell the coffee.
Yes.
Preferably open it fully and try climbing out, even if you get back in it later. Yes. As long as you keep getting out of it again. But we live in boxes.
You won't fit in the box anymore.
Yeah, we live in boxes of what we believe, and if it doesn't fit in the box, it can't possibly be happening. And we're encouraged to do that, and that's what you have to stop.
Yes.
And the animals They really do. They really, really help you
Yes.
get out of it.
We all know that old saying that somebody comes up and says, oh, X, Y, or Z. They can't do that. They haven't read the book.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's not your non-human animal who's wrong. It's your book.
And remember, your book was written by another human.
Yes.
Who probably didn't have this experience.
Yes.
Therefore didn't know it.
Yes. But there really are no borders.
There are none. And not what I'm saying scrapbooks, don't scrap books, but don't believe they're tablets of stone and you can't do anything else. They're a useful addition to what you already know.
Well, the number of times I've looked at an animal doing something and gone, you can do that. Well, yes.
And?
Well, I didn't know you could do that. Well, now you do. Very often it's a ferret doing something I don't want them to do. Ferrets being rather like kittens for most of their lives.
Yeah, you'll enjoy meeting Angus. And he's such a darling. And so is Paris. And they're so useful and so helpful. And each of the animals has their own speciality about what they do really, really well.
And this is predicated by their lifestyle and their evolution and how they are. In exactly the same way that we have our limitations and our specialities.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of times I've been summoned by an animal, and this is why fingers. Because beaks don't hack it. It's like, who's got a finger? Oi, Fiona, hey.
Get the human.
I have been summoned to do things that they can't do. And in fact, one of those examples will come up in the course.
Good. Excellent. Anyway, I think that's about it. But do sign on, get onto the Dear Trods Tribe Facebook page. Dear Trods Tribe, that's the site. Yeah. www.deartrods.com. Yeah. And go into the advanced courses. I can't remember exactly where it turns up, but it's up there.
I think it's there.
And you just
drop me a messenger on Facebook. And we'll talk about that.
Well, you need to stick the whole jolly boarding on Facebook as well, and then everybody can actually, they've got multiple choices. I can't remember what she said. Oh, there it is.
Well, once this recording goes up live,
yeah,
I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah,
okay.
Which actually shuts me up quite happily because I'll stop recording it, and then I'll go away and transpose it, onto YouTube and then onto the site and then onto the Facebook pages. And so you got it. So,
okay.
Enjoy, guys. Take care.